A busy weather night in the eastern United States. It's been a day of soaking rains and gusty winds, especially along the coast. And some of those rains were actually pretty impressive, and they're still going on. Joe Rayo will be taking us on radar tour tonight. Windy and cold weather is all the way down into the deep south and into Florida. It's 29 degrees right now at my house. And we'll take a look at where we're going for the rest of the week and the weekend tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. And you can support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast very simply by doing your holiday shopping on Amazon and using the referral link that's pinned to the top of the chat board or on the descriptor to this podcast. It's very easy. Just go in there, use the search bar, search for your stuff, you buy it, and then Amazon throws us back a little bit of coin for sending you there. But it doesn't come out of your pocket, it comes out of their pocket. So it's an easy and simple way to support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcasts. Oh, I was going to do this, and of course, it always does this. A reconnect. Joe, this is the Yule, the Joe Chaffee Yule log is going. My I got my fireplace all fixed today. Got a whole new set there in there with the system. And so those are actually, if you that's a live picture from my family room. You can see
Wow.
the flames are just roaring there. Oh,
It, it looks just like WPIX.
it does. It does. Yes, it does. So that maybe I'll see if I can figure out how to get a close-up shot maybe for Christmas Eve, but we'll see. All right, let's get back to us. Uh, nope, that's the wrong one. Hang on just a second. Okay, here we go. All right, so
For
pretty
about
busy.
5 or 6 hours, for about 5 or 6 hours today, I had all intentions of, putting up radar and advisories and whatever for a while. Couldn't do that on Facebook because Facebook was
Facebook
out of
went,
commission for a
yeah,
while today.
worldwide. Yes, it was a worldwide outage for them, but they got it fixed late this afternoon.
Yeah.
So I had to communicate to you through other means, but
Yes.
we were still going to be here. There was never any danger of that, and really nasty day. I mean, up and down the East Coast today, uh, waves of rain. There were some pretty hefty thunderstorms that came in from off the ocean and skimmed eastern Long Island and went into southern New England. Saw a few other people mentioning at some point earlier today that there were claps of thunder going on all over the place, and uh, another dent in in the rainfall deficit. This one was pretty sizable.
Right. And let's point out to everybody that even though tomorrow, and we'll probably show it, tomorrow we have the updated map. That map is based upon data that is collected up until Tuesday, yesterday. So it would not include all the rain that fell across the eastern states or the Northeast today. We'll have to wait until next week to see that happen. But still, you're right. It did put a bit of a dent in the overall dry situation that we're into right now, and it was much needed rainfall. I'll tell you, Joe, where I am, it was the rain was coming down. We only had about up until from it started late yesterday or last evening actually. We only had about 6 or 7 tenths of an inch, but then suddenly at around 6 o'clock, I was pouring so hard. I mean, you can actually hear the rain outside and on the roof or whatever. My weather station has a little notation when it rains really hard. It says it's raining cats and dogs. By that time, we had for the day today 1.2 inches of rain, and I mean, again, it was really coming down. The radar, and you'll see that in a moment because I'll be showing radar live. Very narrow and very almost isolated little band of rain that came on through my area for about 5 or 10 minutes, and the lights went off and came instantly back on again. So we were very close to losing power for however moments there were. We had heavy rain. I don't know what the exact total is right now. Maybe Mrs. Rayo can type it in if she checks out the latest on the
Well,
rain gauge.
I can tell you that as of 4 o'clock, Lake Carmel in Putnam County 1.07, and Brewster as of 4 o'clock was at 0.82. Just a few other spots in Suffolk County, Hampton Bays 2.22. Stony Brook 1.90, Islip 1.42. I'm just cherry picking a few places. Smithtown 1.33 in New Jersey. Uh, well, New York City Central Park 0.78 as of 4 o'clock. In Nassau County, we had 1.20 and 1.2 in North Massapequa. In let's see, just over an inch in Brooklyn, just under an inch in the Bronx. At those stations, it just says Brooklyn. It doesn't say where in Brooklyn. Bronx says Fordham, 0.95. Passaic County, West Milford, 1.36 in New Jersey. Hudson County, 0.80 in Kearney. Essex County, West Caldwell, 1.16. Just Bergen County and Franklin Lakes, 1.12. And in Connecticut, New London, 2 inches as of 4 o'clock. And they've certainly got more since. 1.37 Stony Creek in New Haven County. Oxford, which is pretty far inland, 1.08. I'm just checking some of these other numbers. In Fairfield County, Shelton, an inch and a half. Norwalk, 1.42. And Stamford, 1.12. And Bridgeport Airport, 1.01. So, uh,
Mark G on the chat board is asking, are they still measuring the rain in New York City off the top of cars like they do with snow?
from the bottom of cars.
From the bottom of cars. Renata says on our rain gauge 1.3 inches. That, however, I should point out, was from midnight last night. We already had, prior to midnight last night, about a half an inch. So the total for this particular event is probably a lot closer to 1.8 inches. And it's still raining outside as I speak to you now, although that is probably going to end before midnight tonight. And then a very quick clearing trend, Joe. I mean, after midnight, the skies will probably clear out with a gusty wind. Westchester Airport, by the way, tied their record from 2015 and 9 years ago. 59 degrees at the airport today. Tomorrow, they'll be lucky if they can get much higher than 35 or 36 all
All
through
right.
the day and drop down well down into the 20s tomorrow night.
Well, here in North Georgia, we had the front come through early this morning. So when I woke up at 5 a.m., it was 52. When I left the house this morning at 8 o'clock, it was 39. And it just kind of hovered there all day in the mid and upper 30s. And right now, uh, 28, 28 here at Cook Mountain in North Georgia. So get your radars ready to get ready to go. And while you're getting them ready, you can just pop them up on the screen whenever you're set. I'm just going to say hello to everybody on the chat board tonight, and those of you who are watching diligently in the background. To welcome to tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. We're here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. The occasional Friday and Saturday if there's a storm around. So you don't want to Uh, miss any of the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcasts. So if we do add an extra show, we always let you know about it. And of course, if you turn your notifications on, you won't miss us. If you like the show, hit the like button and be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that we can always stay connected. So, Rayo's radars, and he starts with Upton.
Absolutely. We're going to start with the folks over at Upton, that they're located in Suffolk County, Long Island. And I mentioned that there was one band of heavy rain and wind that came through. You can see it. I'm right about here. And you could see that band that just zipped on by. Really didn't amount to all that much in terms of aerial coverage. But in the short time that it was here, about 5 minutes, boy, I tell you, the rain was coming down, the winds were gusting, and it put down a fairly hefty amount of rain in a relatively short interval of time. As of right now, however, as you see on the last few frames of the loop, the main area of rain has now moved off east of Long Island. Well, actually, on the South Fork, there's still some potential moderate to heavy rain that's falling, but everywhere else, it's mainly now east of the tri-state area, although also some heavy rains falling north of me up in the mid-Hudson Valley area on up toward Kingston and Poughkeepsie, and then working its way up into northwestern Connecticut and western sections of Massachusetts. Now, in northwest Connecticut, of course, and also in the Berkshires of western Massachusetts, elevation sometimes can play a role, and that precipitation could be in the form of snow. Not this time, no siree. And in fact, any place up north that did get snow in recent days or in the past week or so, probably seeing a lot of that snow go bye-bye real quick with the warmer temperatures and all of that rain falling upon what's left of that snow during the day today. So that's New York. Let's up to New York. Let's go somewhere else. Let's
Go
go
to
to.
Boston.
I was going to go to. I'm going to Philadelphia
All right,
first.
just before you, I just want to point out every station in New Jersey now has a northwest wind, so the front's gone by there, and
Well, you could
most.
see. Yeah, this probably was the front. You see that line, that narrow line at the initial phase of the loop here, and that's probably the line that also came through my house. It's now off to the east, and yeah, and look, Joe, you could see here in the final few frames of the loop a wedge of drying and probably clearing with those northwest winds. So yeah, you're going to see the temperatures go down really quick now in the coming hours. In fact, right around now at my house, it's around 44, 45, and it will drop into the mid 30s by daybreak and then go nowhere tomorrow. Even though we're going to have lots and lots of bright sunshine, temps tomorrow, along with a still rather gusty, blustery wind, will only be in the mid 30s and probably will make it feel like it's in the 20s tomorrow. And will make it feel like it's a good 35 degrees chillier than it was today, because today, in this morning when I stepped outside, I said, "Whoa, it's actually mild out here. Temperatures are in the 50s," and they were low 50s, and they jumped up to around 60 at my house during the afternoon. So here's Philadelphia. Now we're going to go to Boston, which is where Joe wanted
And
me to go.
Boston right now is south at 30, 61, south at 30, gusting to 47 with heavy rain.
And you can see that heavy rain moving almost from south to north. And in fact, right here, you see a kind of a squally area with some shades of orange and red that heads straight up through Rhode Island and on through eastern Massachusetts and on up toward Boston. So you can see all of this activity still hitting Boston. The front now probably just to their west. And Joe said it was 61 there. They're going to drop very quickly once that front moves on by in the coming hours. So that's Boston. Let's go further south. Let's go down to D.C., Washington, D.C., Sterling, Virginia. You see all of the rain getting pushed or shoved off to the east. And look at this, western central Maryland and most of central and western Pennsylvania, northern sections of Virginia, all of West Virginia, all dry, out in the clear, and the cold air again probably rushing in on those northwesterly winds. All of the wet weather now pretty well confined right along the coast, right along the Delmarva, Delaware, and the Virginia Maryland coast. That's where the rain is now, and in another hour or two, even that will be gone offshore to the east. Anywhere else that we should try or?
Go to Western New York and start picking up to see what the lake effect is doing.
Okay, and here we are. Oh, well,
Now,
uh, this is not,
probably
I don't think this would probably be just flurries, I guess, right? This would not be lake effect yet.
no. I mean, the couple of stations are just reporting flurry, so it's just starting to fire up.
Right. And in fact, you could see here, right here, it looks like there is the lake effect beginning to develop. The lake effect snow machine turning on off of Lake Erie. You can see how the bands are setting up and moving from northwest to southeast. As opposed to here, these precipitation areas you see here, this likely is snow, but more likely like snow showers and flurries, and they are actually progressing away rapidly to the east. And you can see the activity again will be pretty well away out to the east, but the lake effect with the cold air blowing over Lake Erie and also eventually Lake Ontario, that will set the stage for more heavy duty snow amounts, probably in the 1 foot plus range, right to the lee of the lakes over the next 24 to 48 hours.
All right, I think you pretty well. Only Joe Rayo can cover radars as brilliantly as he does. I
Oh.
defy anyone to do a better job. I I implore anybody to do a better job. Okay, let's run through the watches and warnings that are up because we still have them. Um, they've added wind advisories for eastern Pennsylvania and all of New Jersey. I think they still have the high wind warning for Long Island, although now the winds have kind of dropped off from their peaks from earlier. We also have high wind warnings up for coastal Connecticut east of Bridgeport and advisories everywhere else in Massachusetts. I'm just double checking here. So you've got high wind warnings in Rhode Island, eastern Massachusetts, so that includes Boston, and of course down to the Cape, and then they extend on up into a good chunk of the state of Maine. Flash flood watches for many inland areas in Vermont and New Hampshire. They'll probably go over to winter weather advisories before too long. Uh, we have because the colors are close, okay? Especially because there are a couple of counties in northeastern New York that are actually under flash flood watches. The rest of them in north central New York, all under lake effect snow warnings, as well as southwestern New York, from Buffalo southwest to northwest Pennsylvania. Then it becomes a winter weather advisory on the Ohio side. And we've got winter storm warnings again for the western parts of Michigan and the northern parts of the upper peninsula of Michigan. So this is all being driven by this storm system and cold front. We've also have some wind advisories in southwestern Virginia down into the western Carolina mountains. Also for some areas in South Carolina, we have some wind advisories there. And we should also mention that the wind advisories extend south from New Jersey down to cover the Delmarva Peninsula. Some freeze, is that frost or freeze that they have? Either one. It's in North Florida and Southeast Georgia. And we've got winter weather advisories in the Sierra Nevadas for probably 10 feet of snow because the criteria, there's one county in Northern California that has a winter storm watch. And, excuse me, they've taken away the critical uh, uh, fire danger that was in Southern California. So that's a plus, but they're still dealing with the big fire that's been going on to the west of Malibu. Lots of red flag warnings up for Hawaii again. I think that's what that color is. Yes, red flag warnings up for on all of the islands of Hawaii. Most of it's the south facing shores, the shoreline areas where they have that. And in Alaska, because I saw Alfred Phillips was on the board yesterday. I forgot to say hi to him on the air. But they've got blizzard warnings up along the North Slope. But I looked at the forecast, Joe. It's all about blowing snow there. That's not, they're not talking about anything actually coming down out of the sky. It's all blowing snow. And here's the satellite loop tonight. Very sharp front, as Joe has pointed out. You can see the back edge of the bright white clouds now. Uh, Looks like the front's acted. Things are slowed down by a couple of hours today, so it actually brought a couple of extra hours of rain. But the back edge of the bright white clouds, just about to the New Jersey Pennsylvania state line, and starting to move at a pretty good clip to the east. There were some severe thunderstorms in eastern North Carolina earlier today. Those are now all offshore, and you can see they are blowing up in the ocean as this system moves to the east. In the west, we've got a little bit of high level moisture coming into Southern California and into Arizona and New Mexico, and a bit heavier in the way of moisture up in Northern California and back up into Oregon, and the radar kind of bears that out. You can see rain that's coming in now for Western Oregon and into northwestern California. And then, of course, you've got what's going on here in the east. And probably on the back edge of this, in central PA and west of I-81 in New York State, probably has changed over to some light snow. Uh, and it's not going to amount to much. It's really the lake effect that we're waiting to fire up. And you'll notice around the state of Michigan, there's quite a bit of activity of streamers coming in off of Lake Michigan, up and down the western part of the state. Actually, some of those areas of snow have held together. There's some in and around Detroit, and also on the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. You can see it there. The Storm Prediction Center now has gone to no severe. Okay, so they had a slight risk. They just updated that. I just see no severe. So did they take it away? Yes, they took it away. So it's done. And no thunderstorms are forecast for tomorrow, no severe weather forecast for Friday. And this is the additional rainfall that's occurring right now. So it's basically, we're talking currently. This map actually was put up at around 2 o'clock this afternoon. So we're going to be done in the next couple of hours, and we'll see what all the totals are. Inch and a half plus though for East Texas, northeastward into southern Missouri, and western parts of Kentucky, Tennessee, and Mississippi. And we've got a half to three quarters that goes all the way up to northern Illinois, through Michigan. Some of this is lake effect that's up here. Some of it is with the next system that's coming. And then in the west, this has been the same now for 3 days. We're talking about 6 inches plus in northwestern California and several inches or more as you move your way up to Oregon and into Washington. The gradient's looking tight on the back side, so the wind is probably, Joe, going to be up for a while tomorrow.
Yes, I think even though the wind advisory is in effect now and probably expires very soon here in the immediate tri-state area, those winds tomorrow are still going to be busy out of a northwesterly direction, probably at times gusting to over 30 miles an hour. And again, as I mentioned at the start of the show, the temperatures tomorrow, despite bright sunshine, it'll be a brilliantly blue sky, lots and lots of sunshine, but temperatures will only be in the mid 30s. Cold air advection doing its thing, driving that cold air into the northeast, and combine that with those gusty winds of 20 and 30 plus miles per hour, making it feel more like the 20s. Now, it will be as cold, if not even a touch colder on Friday, but it will feel better on Friday because there'll be much less in the way of wind. So it will not be anywhere near as harsh as what we will be dealing with tomorrow with those gusty winds. So Friday will look good, and even into the start of the weekend. Of the 2 weekend days, Saturday and Sunday, Saturday looks to be the brighter day, the sunnier day, the milder day, with temperatures maybe even getting to above 40. It'll be in the 40s on Sunday, but it'll be a lot cloudier. And then the next weather disturbance probably will bring a chance of, you guessed it, rain, not snow, for early next week.
Yeah, I just let's looking at the GFS here on this particular run. Uh, from earlier this week where this high was supposed to plunge, much further south. Now it's because this trough is lifting up faster into the north. So the high is going to be going more to the north. So that's probably going to slow the warm up somewhat set for Saturday. I'm thinking, maybe mid 30s to around 40. I know you said, maybe getting above 40. I don't know. It might be a bit of a struggle. Sunday definitely will be back up into the 40s with the high up in New Hampshire. And then, of course, you've got this, there's a system that's going to be coming out of Kansas, and there is mostly rain in Kansas. I think I saw Miss Fowlerite mentioning the Chiefs game this weekend. There's some freezing rain in northeast Nebraska, southern Minnesota, northern Iowa, and then a little bit of snow up there come Saturday afternoon. But yeah, for everybody else, it's just a sort of arm of rain. This is not a big deal, this particular weather system. The rain from this actually weakens as it moves east, and we might get some rain late Sunday night to the first part of Monday. Then that goes out, and then we got a stronger low that comes out of the northern plains, goes to the lakes, and a trailing cold front down to Texas. And this is on, on Monday afternoon and evening. Rain from all the way up in northern Michigan, all the way south into Texas, and that comes in for Tuesday. And then after that, it dries out, and yet another system comes from Kansas and heads over into the lakes. And there's another cold front. This one might have a little more oomph to it. So we have rain maybe for later Thursday or Thursday night and Friday of next week. This particular run actually makes it a fairly big rainmaker and changes it up to snow in upstate New York and in eastern Pennsylvania. Kind of looks like what we're just going through, oddly enough. But it does have a significantly colder air mass coming in behind it. Now, I'm going to caution everybody because I was looking at this operational run of the GFS, and and it's the in between run, and I thought, well, that's interesting because when you look at the way the upper air sets up on this particular run, let me just widen out to North America. Uh, Suddenly, at the end of next week, there's this troughing in the east, ridge in the west, and it stays there. So as one trough lifts out, another one drops in. There's an upper low in Hudson Bay that's twirling around, going into Christmas week. And beyond that, I mean, this is a very cold, this is a rather cold looking operational run. But then when you look at the ensembles, it looks nothing like this. So uh, I think this is one of those times where the GFS may have just kind of, you know, spat up something that looks good, but uh, will not look like this on the next run. And the only other thing I'll point out tonight is I did also do a little bit of long range sleuthing today. It's the fact that, uh, we were talking about this the other day about the polar vortex, going from what was a stretched look to then it gets sort of wrapped up like a bit of a ball, a tight ball, a tighter ball. But
Right.
then on this run, it wants to start stretching it again as we head into Christmas week. So again, I would take all of this with a big grain of salt because of the fact that the ensembles at 18Z do not really support this idea. Uh, so uh, Now, if tonight's run comes in, and if tomorrow's day run comes in and starts looking like this, then we can maybe have a more interesting conversation about things down the road. And I would just again point out what I said
Maybe,
last.
if we don't get a white Christmas, maybe if we hold on to the stretched look toward the end of the year, maybe we can get a white New Year's.
Well, as I said yesterday, for you snow, for all the snow lovers out here, uh, just stay away from the operational runs. I mean, they're going to occasionally create fiction. I have the 12Z because I see Mark Francine. I'm at 12Z, looking at the 10 millibar on the 12Z in the stratosphere, uh, looks interesting. So maybe the ensembles will be playing catch up over the next couple of days. But let me get them back on the screen here. Hold on a second. But the 12Z, it's got. Let me roll. Come on. Oh, this thing is driving me crazy today. There we go. Same idea. You go from stretch to a tighter little ball. Then it starts to stretch again in the longer range. So that would be an encouraging thing, an encouraging sign. If we, I'll take a stretched polar vortex. If you're not going to split it, stretch it. So if we get a stretched polar vortex, that kind of argues for the idea of maybe opening up the cold air spigots and bringing some colder air down from Canada into the eastern part of the United States. So there's that. And if you want to look at what the GFS at 12Z did on the surface, it really didn't do very much. But again, I want to go back to what I said yesterday. you're better off when the models don't show you anything in the long range because you know if it shows a storm after 240, if it's got a wrapped up snowstorm, sort of a snow weenie, it looked like a snow weenie drew it. You know that's not going to happen. So why even bother to waste your energy here? So this is through day 10, which is this is now the 17th. So that goes by, and there's some kind of diver here with a little coastal low around the 19th and 20th. Brings some cold air down into the eastern part of the United States. It does have a bit of a colder look to it, but I would rather the GFS not show any storms in the long range and just have an upper air that looks somewhat favorable. I think you know, that gives you a better idea of what's going to happen and not just what the silly operationals do. So there. I have made my statement. I've laid down the law.
Okay,
Okay.
so what else is there? You have Briller Jeopardy tonight, I think,
I
right?
do. I just wanted to check, make sure that, the fireplace is working and not setting the house on fire, because, after all, we have to keep our schedule of the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, which is on Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. Yes, I do have Briller Jeopardy somewhere. I am going to find it.
Unless you want to
Okay.
hold off on, unless you want to hold off on it until tomorrow night, so this way some of our viewers can move quickly over to their TV and watch the second half of Frosty the Snowman on
Oh,
NBC.
good God, stop. No, we're going to
With
do
Billy,
Briller.
with Billy, with Billy the Wolf.
Oh, I
Remember,
saw.
Missy,
I s-
Missy, Missy.
I saw on one of those obscure channels. They had what was it called? The Day Without a Santa Claus, and Shirley Booth was the.
Yes,
Yeah, okay. I thought I was hearing things.
no,
Um,
Shirley Booth,
Shirley Booth. Uh,
and reprising his role as Santa Claus from another animated stop action classic was Mickey Rooney. I think Mickey Rooney did Santa Claus is Coming to Town with Fred Astaire, and then he later did a couple of years later he did something with Shirley Booth. Shirley Booth played Mrs. Claus.
yes, she
Hard for me to
did.
think of. Start. It was hard for me to when I first saw it. I kept thinking of Hazel.
Um, yes. Uh, okay, so we're doing average highs for December. So let's run through these. Detroit.
Detroit, average high temperature,
Hmm.
42.
Oh, that's a little bit too high, Joe. 42 is a bit too high. Vincent Croce is very close with 36, and John Melander is as close at 38. But Jason Fox and Chuck Cardillo and John Sachs, 37. And CWTR Shark, 37. So if you said 37, you done good. Houston.
Houston, how about 62?
You're in the right decade. Uh, Not quite there at 62. Uh, but you're not too far. O&D 23 is closer at 64. Vincent Croce is even closer at 65, but Patrick Darcy at 66 nails it. Okay, Memphis.
Boxcars.
Boxcars, yes. Craps, boxcars, Big Bennies. Memphis.
Memphis, I would say. How about 54?
Oh, oh,
Ooh.
oh. Jason Barry, you got it there at 53. 53 for Memphis.
Okay.
Minneapolis.
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 How about 29?
Ring the bell for yourself, Joe Rayo. 29.
Yes.
And for Craig Carlberg and
Yeah.
Vincent Croce at 29. And finally, New Orleans.
Ba, 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 ba. 69?
No, not 69, not 68. But Alan on the chat board at 65 uh, gets it. And the bonus tonight is Toronto.
Toronto, Tonto. Uh,
Hot no rot. Hot no rot.
how about
Toronto.
30? And do you want it in Fahrenheit or Celsius?
Please, Fahrenheit.
Oh, okay. Then we'll say 30, 34.
A little low. Uh, Johnny Sachs, Owen D 23 at 38. Close, close. Um, Jason Fox at 35. Close,
David Fuller's
close.
36.
Closer. That's closer. And just waiting to see. Okay, here we go. Rich Rothmansky. I was going to go the whole night without Rich Rothmansky getting one. 37. 37.
37.
Now, to make Tom Contino happy, if he's still on the chat board, I don't know. But he wanted to know, what is your favorite Christmas movie?
So what is it?
I don't know. What is yours?
Oh,
I have to make a list.
maybe it's the original Miracle on 34th Street. And they've done that. They redid that several times, including one time they actually had Sebastian Cabot, Mr. French,
Right.
playing Santa Claus. But I think Edwin Gwynn's portrayal of Santa and the original version from the 1940s, with, by the way, William Frawley, uh,
Yes.
might be
William
my
Frawley and also Gene Lockhart
Gene
as
Lockhart.
the
Right?
judge.
Yes.
So I would say I have a few. Okay. I like the of the Scrooge movies. I like um the Alistair Sim one, but it's got to be the black and white, not the colorized version. Okay. So I like that one. Although I do also like the Reginald Owen one too. And that has a very, very young, well, it has Gene Lockhart in it. It also has Kathleen Lockhart, his wife, and June Lockhart plays one of the kids.
Wow.
Um,
And she's still alive.
yeah, I think she turned 98 this year or 99.
It's unbelievable.
99, Mark Franz. Yes, 99. God bless her.
Dick Van Dyke, who just got, had to leave his home because of the fires
Right.
out in Southern California. He turns 99 on Friday,
God
believe it or
bless.
not. Wow.
God bless. So there's those. I like the Bishop's.
What did you think of the Christmas Carol, um, George C. Scott's Christmas Carol?
It's good. It's very good. You know, George C. Scott's a great actor. Uh, it's a very dark. It's a much darker version of it.
Right.
So a little harder to watch. But no, I thought it was very good. I like The Bishop's Wife with the Cary Grant, David Niven, and Loretta Young. And
And
there's
of
a
course, and of course, the very best Christmas Carol, better than George C. Scott, better than Alastair Sims, is Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol.
yes, of course, Mr. Magoo's. Yes. Uh, there's like a bunch of Christmas movies that yeah, It's a Wonderful Life. The thing is, I've seen that so many times, I don't
Yeah.
have any desire to see it again. Mary! Mary! Do you know
You want to
that?
know the best line? To me, the best line in that whole movie is when he comes home after he can't find the $8,000. He comes home, he's kicking Christmas presents. He knocks down the bridge that the kids
Yeah.
built in the living, and then he yells, says, "Why do we have to have so many kids?" And I said, "Bravo, bravo! You can love your kids. You can love them to death. You will say, I don't know what I would do without them, but at least once in your
There are moments, yes.
period of
There
period
are
of your adulthood,
moments.
You have to say that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. We've all been down that road. Anybody who's a parent knows it's frustrating sometimes, but
Yes.
the the good stuff almost always outweighs the bad. The
Yeah.
not so good. I shouldn't even say bad.
Right. Right.
But no, there's a couple of movies that are like I'm missing. It's like my head's not all there with this stuff.
A Christmas Story with Gene Shepard, which they run 24/7 at on TBS on
Oh,
Christmas Eve.
yeah, you know what? That's fine. I mean, I've seen that a few times. It's funny, but I don't it's not a movie that I run to see, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of there are a couple of others, but they don't see. Yeah, see, people are putting up stuff that was done in the last 20 or 25 years. I have no use for that stuff. Okay. I like to go to the old classics, black and white movies and watch those. That's where my heart is. I'm an old soul from that standpoint. Yes, Laurel and Hardy. I could go for that.
I can't put the ball in the bag. It's a bowling bag ball.
Right. Bowling bag ball. All right. Bing Crosby. Oh, I love oh God. Oh God. Going My Way. I love Going My Way and then the follow-up, Bells of St. Mary. Bing Crosby, who won an Oscar for Going My Way, there's some just a couple of like trivia tidbits. Uh, he's the only actor to have been nominated Best Actor for playing the same character in two different movies. He
Wow.
was in Bells of St. He was in Going My Way, and then and he was nominated also for Best Actor in The Bells of St. Mary. Also, the other notable thing about Going My Way, and I always cry at the end of that, is Barry Fitzgerald, who won the Best Supporting Oscar that year, was nominated for his role in both the Best Actor and the Best Supporting Actor category. And after that happened, they changed the rules so that you couldn't be in both categories for the same role. Had to be in one or the other. So he was nominated for both Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor. Bing Crosby won the best for Best Actor. He won for Best Supporting Actor. So there.
And the only man who ever won for the same character in two different television shows and in two different venues, a comedy and a drama, was Ed Asner playing Lou Grant.
Right, because he won on the Mary Tyler Moore show, and then on the Lou Grant show that he had, that was a drama.
Right,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
playing also Lou Grant.
And
Um,
by the way, if you ever saw the Christmas episode of Mary Tyler Moore, the first season of the Mary Tyler Moore show, and how Mary is making preparations to go home for Christmas Day and finds out that she is going to be working instead, Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. That's not how it works. That in a newsroom, this is how it works. Sometime in late September or early October, either the news director or the executive producer will send out a memo saying, if you intend to take off anytime during the winter holidays, you must let us know now so that we can arrange the schedule now, not the day before Christmas or the week before Christmas. It doesn't work that way. You have to put in your request way, way in advance. And it's the one thing, Joe, I don't have to tell you, I don't really miss not being part of TV anymore, is the possibility of having to work on Christmas Day, which you and I actually, at FiOS 1, we actually worked a Christmas Day. I remember that. I think it was 2017 or 2018. There we were on Christmas Day together.
we were. I don't even remember. I've blanked a
It,
lot of. I've really blanked a lot of that and that
it
experience
was
out
the
of my mind.
Christmas. It was the Christmas where you were up in Connecticut, and there was like 4 inches of snow that morning when you.
Oh, right. Yes, I now right. Oh, it was beautiful that morning. I was up
Yeah.
in Thomaston, Connecticut. I woke up to a picture postcard. It was like the perfect white Christmas. It snowed all night. They got about 4 inches, a little over 4 inches. When I woke up, it was just starting to taper off. I saw a little bit of moderate snow coming. Moderate snow was coming down, then it just tapered off, and it of course changed to rain south of 287. So as I was driving down 287, um, you could see the snow line just, you went from an inch to nothing over a matter of a couple of miles. That's right. Yes, I did work that. Uh,
And so did
uh,
I.
yes.
That was the Christmas morning when Renata looked out the window. She sees the snow, and the first thing out of her mouth was, "Oh,
Oh,
poo."
poo.
Yeah,
All right, let's wrap it up, shall we? Surely.
surely,
Uh,
yeah.
okay, so everybody, tomorrow night at 7:35 p.m. Hope you had a great day. Hope you have a safe day tomorrow, and we'll see you tomorrow night at 7:35. Night, night.
Good night, folks.